Oh, hello. What are you doing? Ah, hmm, There we go. Frank, John, how are y'all? See what I did with the title? During a work call, not a bad move. Hello, do you work from home or do you have to go to the office? Are you in an office? Are you in a cubicle? The new walleye plugs will be shipping today. I'm getting them ready. You might have something a little extra in your bag. Hella, maybe 90%. I didn't know if the office you showed me was somewhere you had to go to every day. Um, IKAST has been real quiet since IKAST dropped those plugs last night. Yeah, IKAST. I haven't. Has anybody? Has there been? I don't know. I mean, speaking of IKAST, I don't know what. I don't know what the appeal is at this point. Hey, Josh, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm just trying to get plugs removed. Clean off these little tail hangers. Frank, you finally got them. Wonderful. Glad they made it safe and sound. It always freaks me out a little bit shipping to Canada because if any of you have shipped to Canada, they don't actually send it to your address. They send it to a middleman that then distributes it to somewhere. I guess I don't know. Um, so it's kind of freaky sending Canadian mail because it goes to like Illinois first, and then they distribute it from the global hub to where it needs to go. Uh, but it made it. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. However, it does. I will say, USPS has this new shipping service. I shipped something out yesterday, and it was the first time I'd used it to where it's not like first class, and it's like priority global. It's not what is it called? Some hell, you know what it's probably called. It's like something. It's like priority ground or something. It's like an in between priority and ground, or it's in between first class, and it's weird. I didn't really understand it, but whatever, whatever. So we'll see how these. I'm sure this is how these will ship out. Um, but it'll be uh, it'll be interesting to see the time that these show up. Um, if these show up in a timely manner. It's one size shipping now, but cost more and takes longer. So there's like first class rate basically stayed the same. Ground advantage, that's it, Chris. Ground advantage. I got the email about it, but I grazed through it because I knew it didn't really have a choice anyway, so it didn't matter. Um, Ground advantage, but with the package I shipped yesterday, I didn't get a first class option. I was only given a ground advantage option. I guess they're trying to push the ground advantage. I don't know. So we'll see if it sucks or not. Um, not me being the creature of habit. I don't really like change, so um, I don't know if USPS was at ICAST releasing their ground advantage, but probably not. But I haven't heard anything good out of there. I heard listened to BTL this morning. Listen to Matt Steffen bitch a little bit. It was a soft bitch sesh about his hover rig getting ripped off, which was pretty funny because in his previous statement about going to IKAST this year, he says he was working with his sponsors, and that I didn't really know any of the other products there. And then he said, my hover rig got ripped off. There's one here. There's one that's not here. It's like, oh, so you do know. You do know. But he did have a positive outlook on getting ripped off, and that was that the more that the technique is pushed, the more companies that come out with that kind of rig, the more light is shined on it. So hopefully the more that everybody sells, and then I guess at that point they just hope to out market and sell between his little social media machine with him and Johnny and Randy, that they can push enough and get enough eyes or more eyes than the next guy. Not terrible, not terrible. So we'll see. We'll see. The state of my poor Barlow's order is just up in the air right now. How much was the package to ship? It was like I feel like it was between a first class rate and a priority rate. It was like somewhere in the middle. What's up, Nasty Nate? Yeah, early today. Got in here. I had busy work to do, so I figured I'd jump on. Busy work. I have to order the hover rig and tush from Gussie's local tackle shop in Northern Ontario. Small flat rate for $27. Wow. You could a small flat rate, like the small box. That should be like 8. The medium box is like 15, and then the large is 18, 20, 27. Wow. That's to Canada. Oh. Yeah, typically my everything I've shipped to Canada is in the $15 range. I had it set up the first 10 orders I had. I guess it was a typo, but I set up my international shipping and I checked it, and it was it's about $15. For some reason, I put it on the website. I set the shipping as $10. And then I started looking, said, what am I charging to ship to Canada? And I looked and I was like, oh, I've lost money on all these orders. Way to go. Way to go, me. So I went back and changed it to 15. But I think I'm about to dump Wix and go to Shopify. I'm going to jump on the Shopify train since Wix took away my ability to send mass emails and wanted to charge me for it. Shopify charges a little more, but it's I think the juice will be worth the squeeze. We'll see. I can always go back. But Yeah, I'm really. This is the like I've always for the last couple of years I've been disappointed in ICAST, but this is the first year that it's really dawned on me this like all the wads have been blown before the show even started. Like it it this year really proved that the manufacturers know that the value is in social media because I mean everything's already been out on social media and like what they're doing down there is just playtime. Um, bonus for me wasn't assessed for any sales tax. That's good. Maybe it was a gift. Hey, Brian, what's up? What is up? Uh, gets hard sitting at work watching you work on plugs. Only got 2 racks of plugs left to paint. Sitting in my shop. John, what are you painting? What are you painting? What kind of plugs? Tell me about your plugs, John. A load of balsa? I didn't know you were a balsa builder. Learn something new every day. Deep, shallow, mid. Are they for selfish use? Selfish use, or you disperse them? Nate, great idea. And you have to be a member of the ASA to have a booth, and it would make people puke if they knew how much that costs. There you go. Sounds like a racket to me. Sounds like a racket to me. For the walleye guys. So you disperse out into the world. Member of the ASA to buy a booth. Nate, they're out there. That's the funny thing about it. Is those people are out there. Idea people. They're all around us. They're all around us. There's one. There's one on this chat right now. Idea guy. Yeah, I think if the right person had their head pulled out of their ass, you could assemble a dream team of bait people and swamp everybody. Like if you were a money man and you said, "Listen, I'm sick of this shit." You could put together a dream team and just make everything else look like it was insignificant. Like the JDM companies would look at that company and be like, "Whoa, what's going on?" The JDM market would start ripping them off. Not people with actual thoughts, you know. I don't understand it though. I don't understand it. But it would be cool to see. It would be cool to see. The problem with like a company like I think no, I was about to say a company like Guggen might could have pulled something like that off, but they had to stay in their like tween tween range to be entertaining, to make it marketable. They couldn't get so like technical that like a 12-year-old would be like, what? I don't understand this. But haven't heard much out of them lately. The Nightmare Popper by Jackal. Haven't seen that one. Nate, I actually found the Jacob Wheeler video last night where he was holding up the giant like 3D printed Crush City Dolive OSP Norris thing, and he was getting flamed in his comment section, and he was responding back, you know, that the action was Nori's, the hinge was theirs. That was the original. Basically, his defense was, okay, we ripped off the majority of it, but we added the hinge, and that's unique, which is whatever. So Bob, that's why I try and not blast out too much. Like that, I probably won't ever post that. But Wheeler, I will give him credit. He did admit that there was the bait was inspired from Norris and OSP, which was commendable. And the funny thing about the comments is people were like, people were flaming him like, I can't believe you said that with a straight face. It's like, what, dude? I feel like if he would have not said it, that would have been harder to say with a straight face than saying, listen, we understand that this looks like a Norris and this looks like an OSP. But here's what we did different. And that was 100% calculated. That he wasn't just shooting off the cuff. That had been talked about going into this. Hey, so this is an OSP bait. How are we gonna attack that? I said, well, you're just gonna kind of softly throw that in. When you talk about it, say, hey, we took a little inspiration from this, and just kind of let it slide. So, I don't know. I thought it was okay, I guess. I mean, I don't know. They at least recognized what we all already knew. So I feel like that was a micro step in the right direction. Maybe not. Maybe not. Deflect the heat. That's right. Deflect the heat from the masses of Instagrammers. But I mean, everybody's getting it, so it's not like it's that big of a deal. You know what I mean? What's really going to happen? Nothing. All right, split ring time. Let's get all these rings out. Let's get all these rings out. Get them organized. But I've never fished that bait. Is it that good? The doe leaf beaver? That's a pretty good analogy, Anthony. I could get behind that. I can get behind that analogy. They call it a doe live? Do live? Because there's a creek here that's spelled the same way, and it's called doe leaf. Or they could, or if you read it, it looks like the olive. Do live? Do live? What's the proper pronunciation? Do live? Do leave? The olive? Let's hear it. We'll do, how do you say DOLIVE for 300, Alex? 5. That is a Roman numeral. You are correct. How much did you wager? Suck it, Trebek. South Jersey busted Matt Stefan on BTL this morning. He busted him? What did he bust him for, Hayden? Do tell. Screw him, enjoy your pictures, the groups. Yeah. Oh, that they took their hover stroll from elsewhere. Jim, you watch the hover stroll in a tank test, or you watch the Crush City in a tank test? I haven't seen any tank test videos. The only ones I feel like I ever see are what's them call it? What's that company? Savage Gear. Shots fired from South Jersey. Stefan said, "You ripped us off." And everybody said, "Oh, poor Matt Stefan." And then South Jersey fisherman comes along and says, "No, no, no, Matt. There's a little company called blank from Japan. Didn't think I knew them, did you? Guess what? I do." South Jersey's so underground. He knows guys that aren't even building baits yet. Jersey adjusts his glasses and gets real serious. He was waiting, dude. He was waiting. South Jersey had his alarm clock set. He said, "Oh, Matt Stefan's going to get in there talking about the hover rig. I'm going to blast his ass. Just wait. I'm going to expose him." We don't want to get South Jersey wound up. South Jersey, come in here and defend yourself. Like that's something that would not be on my radar. Like, you could come out with a hover rig and rip it off from some Japanese company, and I would never know the difference. And just because it's not like a technique that I'm uh, scouring the Japanese internet for, trying to find the best jig head for that rig. So I need to look it up and see what it's all about. The wild thing to me is that how fast something trends and then companies jump on it. Like back in the day, it would take years for the industry to like react, for them to say, this is a viable thing, it's stuck around, it's worth putting our money into. Now something like happens, tournament gets won, it's like, oh yeah, we're going full bore into the hover rig. Why? I know I kind of miss that, Anthony. I miss magazines. I was thinking about subscribing to a magazine. I got, what did I get? Oh, Hellabass on my way home. He's like, you want a Bassmaster and a Bass Times to read on the way home, or whatever they're called. It's like, sure, yeah, give me those. So he had them stuffed in his back seat. So I took them and read them. And I did notice I haven't been a subscriber to Bassmaster in some time. So I haven't actually read a Bassmaster magazine. He did have to convince me. But I was very disappointed and a little hurt at the paper stock that they used in their magazine now. Like, Bassmaster is not a Bassmaster anymore. It's more like one of those magazines you'd pick up for free. It's like a one of those like trader free magazines you find in like little newsstands on the side of the road. Hella, she did. She had she actually was very accommodating. She gave me 2 of her favorite beers from a local brewery. They were pretty decent. And she also gave me 2 homemade dumplings that her friend had made the night before. So we had dumplings and some sort of Minneapolis beer. Anthony, I too was an angry teen, angsty teen, because I would get my magazine, and I would get to the Uncle Homer section, and I think I read Uncle Homer one time, and in the remaining Uncle Homer articles would just fill me with rage because they were so dumb and they were so antiquated and they were so just they were smut, dude. Like, rest in peace, Uncle Homer. You wrote a lot of articles, but they were awful. Like, you're in Bassmaster magazine and you're in the front, like you're in a good, like you have your whole column, and like his articles would be like, when you throw your nippity out there and it hits the water, the key is to let all the rings disappear. And it's like, Uncle Homer, get off this shit, dude. This is like 1967 shit. Like, This is 1998. Like, give me the goods. And then like the next month, he'd be like, when you're throwing your Mepps inline spinner, you can bend the blade. And it's, dude, nobody's throwing a Mepps. Like, shut up, Uncle Homer. Like, I would sit there and just like rage out on Uncle Homer. I really had a vendetta against Homie. But I don't know. I don't know how that guy held a job so long, because I need to ask Ken Duke. Like, Ken, how did Uncle Homer have Homer's Corner for 40 years? Because you can't tell me as an editor that you were like reading that and being like, this is the juice. This is the juice. We have got to keep this going. Maybe it was because he was such a staple in the industry, you like couldn't get rid of him. They were just like, we'll just let him have his fun and write his articles. Maybe people liked it. I don't know. If you ever read an Uncle Homer article and like learned something or enjoyed Uncle Homer, let me know. Maybe I was just the angry teen, but I never got any value from Uncle Homer. I would basically just skip to the day on the lake every time. That was the only thing I wanted. I wanted the day on the lake, and I wanted the tournament recaps. Duke loves tradition. He has a soft spot for legends. That has to have been it. That's what I would guess. I'll tell you another one that sent me into orbit was when they brainstormed. Somebody came up with the bright idea where the title of the magazine, the main header on the magazine, would be "Why Hellabass is a better fuzzy dice fisherman than you." But it would be somebody who wasn't I don't feel like better than most people I knew at whatever it was. You know what I mean? Like, it would be like, why is I'm trying to think. Like, why is Dean Rojas a better spinnerbait fisherman than you? And I'd read it and be like, he's not. Like, what are you talking about? Like, he's not a better spinnerbait fisherman than like 40 people I know. But those really rubbed me the wrong way. Like when it said, why Aaron Martin's a better drop shotter than you? Yeah, let me read it. Why Aaron Martin's is a better everything than you? Yeah, I'll read it. But like, why, you know, I'm trying to think. Like, why John Murray is a better puncher than you? It's like, John Murray's like a finesse guy. Like, he's not the punch. He's not the punch dude. But what is this? Why Dustin Wilkes is a better swim jigger than you? Yes, exactly. Guess what, Bassmasters? He's not. Who else? I might have mentioned this last time on my Aaron rant, but the only reason I ever picked up a Lure Jensen speed trap was because of Aaron Martin's Day on the Lake. It changed my mind because I was reading it, and the water temp, I believe, when Aaron was fishing was in the 40s, and he pulled out a It wasn't a crystal crawl. It was like the uh, chrome red looking speed trap, and he was catching them on that in 40 something degree water. And I was like, the dark chrome red one, yep. And I saw that, and I was like, dude, this guy's snatching them on this square bill in 40 something degree water. What is this thing? Because it wasn't a sponsor. That was the other thing, is that it wasn't a sponsor bait. It was just the bait for the job. Um, and I said, I got to get some of these. So I bought some, and I fished them in cold water. And you know what? I got bit. They ate. But like I said, Aaron was the exception. He was the only one I really trusted. Him and Brower. Bernie Schultz is a better buzz baiter. Oh, Bernie. Oh, Bernie. Did y'all see him on IKAST issue an apology for cutting Homeboy off? That was pretty amusing. And I think I said it when it happened, because we talked about it on here, that like he panicked because he was in like contention to finally like possibly win. And I think I think he just like blacked out and was like, dude, I don't care. Like this is my time. If I have to cut this dickhead off, I'm cutting him off. Like, who gives a shit? And then I think after he looked back, he's like, you know what, that wasn't nice. Um, but in the heat of the moment, he short circuited. Um, why a Bass Pro is a better fisherman? Because I work and he's fishing. There's a lot of accuracy to that statement. Um, uh, Hella did make me a peanut butter burger with bacon, and what else was on that thing, Hella? There was something else weird. Oh, an egg. Uh, it was odd. It was odd, but it wasn't. It wasn't offensive. It wasn't. It in on paper, it was kind of offensive, but the taste wasn't horrific. Hella said it wasn't the best it could have been. We think we had a maybe a bun malfunction. Different bun might would have improved it. Um, Marty, do you eat grits? Are you a grits and eggs guy? Um, I'm trying to think what else. The the um, the Lunker Club. Was anybody ever featured in the Lunker Club? Grits rule. I like grits myself. Um, Hello, you probably don't eat grits. Canadian dudes, y'all probably don't eat grits either. Your dad has a 13-pound largie in the Lunker Club. That was in the magazine. What do you remember the month and year? Bob, it's kind of weird. Ike's new format. Um, the reason being, he's like right here. It's like, hey guys, 2008ish. I probably have that one. I'll have to look. That might have been about the time I canceled though. Um, but I think Ike's way too close to his screen. Kind of freaks me out because I feel like he's like looking up my nose. I don't mind. I think Ike is a good interviewer. Like I like listening to like him and Birdie talking was a good. I felt like it was a pretty good interview. It wasn't the best, but it was good. Um, I don't know that whole Ike Live thing. I can't figure out. Something ain't jiving because they keep trying different formats and this and that, and it's odd. It's odd. Yeah, hell, it. No, I can't. I got canceled. My guest canceled. So um, I'll try again. I'll try again next week. They had some personal issues. Yeah, Marty, don't ever go to a Casey's and get biscuits. You will throw them back through the kitchen. They're horrible. Croissant isn't much better. Um, was his old I think his old studio was in his house, and his new studio was a separate like place out in the like separate from the house that they built. And now I guess he's back in the old studio. That's what it looks like. Um, I'm guessing they still do Bash U at his house, which I think is kind of odd. Um, so Tennessee Bassmaster, what's up? But so the only person that we know personally that is in Bassmaster is Hella Bass's dad. Hella Dad. Hella Dad had a 13. You know what? As a kid, I thought about sending, or not as a kid, but as a college student, I thought about sending in a picture of Jody with like a 5 pounder and then lying about the measurements and saying it was like 12 because there's no way of noticing. Like they can't tell. And I was just going to use the math calculator to pick out like what a 12-pound largemouth measurements would be. And then I was just going to send that in and be like, here's Jody Crane's uh, 14-pounder from Lake Tuscaloosa, which would be a total lie. Um, and the people that were from around there would have been like, no way you caught a 14-pounder. That's a damn 5. Uh, that was back in my mischievous trolling years. I would have gotten a lifetime ban from Bassmaster. Tennessee caught a 9-pound gar today. Congratulations. What did the gar bite? What did you catch a 9-pound gar on? That's a big gar. Burns hadn't looked at a Bassmasters in 30 years. That's been a while, man. Gar are so much fun to get the hooks out of. Love them. Love getting hooks out of a gar. When I had Keith on, we didn't even talk about his gar, did we? I should have. I should have. Caught it on a Megabass bottle shrimp. Well, that's weird. Let me look that up. Megabass bottle shrimp. Sounds expensive for a gar to be biting. Oh, it looks like a new Crush City bait. Cool. Cool. The sketchiest fish to unhook by far. Give me a 36-inch hot muskie all day over a gar. Dude, for guys like Tennessee Bassmaster, the younger generation, I can't tell you how exciting it was to like know that there was a tournament coming up and like get to read about how the tournament was won and not have everything at your fingertips. You know what I mean? Like not be able to necessarily, like you can't jump on a website and go buy the bait immediately. You can't like now you see something, a tournament get won on something, you can have it at your house in an hour. But like back then, there was like, if somebody was like driving through Florida, be like, "Oh, dude, stop at a tackle shop and get me some of those, like bitters worms or whatever." And the hunt was the fun part. You got it, John. Like or a technique, you know what I mean? Like there wasn't so much on like how somebody did something, so you would just have to kind of go out and kind of like act like you knew what you were doing and just kind of figure it out. And the hunt was the fun part. It really was fun. I enjoyed that part of it. Um, so the bass fishing that like the younger generation is doing now is not the same as like what we did. Um, I know I sound like an old fart, but Tennessee Bassmaster, you're a savage, dude. Um, what I'll fish you any day. Don't go all Randy Blockett. You ain't wrong. Especially if you're throwing fancy megabass stuff. I would never stand a chance. Driving all over looking for baits, you got it. Or if a tackle shop got a bait that was like, uh, after, like not of that region, like I was telling y'all about the mutant fly. Um, the mutant flea, Bill Alexander's jig. The the shop down here got it, and that was made in New York, Connecticut, somewhere up there. And that was something that was like a damn alien fishing lure, dude, because it was from so far away, and it was like we'd never seen anything like that. And I saw it, and I was like, dude, this is what those guys are throwing. Um, Pretty impressive. But it was, stuff like that was exciting. Like I can't. When was the last time you walked into a tackle shop and saw something that like opened your eyes and you were like, ooh, what's that? Probably not in like 10 years, if not longer. I couldn't tell you the last time I walked into it. The bassin eel was one of those local baits. Would you have to go buy them for your buddies and then put them in the mail? Burns, can you give me those eels? I need some eels. These had a little. All these had a little fuzzy on it. That one. That one. No, not that one. Big Malone, what's up? But yeah, it's kind of a shame. I like the figuring out how to fish new techniques was part of the fun as well. It was, and it wasn't all like laid out on a damn platter for you. You know what I mean? Like you still had to work for it. You didn't just go watch like 10 videos and then you're an expert. The funny thing about it is like you read you read an article on drop shotting. And you're like, oh, I'm gonna go try drop shotting. Then you start digging through your digging through your hook assortment, and you're like, wait a minute, uh, I don't have a mosquito hook. Let's see what I've got. And you start digging around, and like, yeah, no mosquito hook. I've got a gold Aberdeen crappie hook. That might work. Nah, it's a little flimsy. What else do I have? Um, hmm, this trailer hook looks kind of good. Let me try. Let me drop shot with a trailer hook. So like the stuff you were using to do half this shit wasn't even like appropriate, but somehow you made it work. Certainly, Burns. You hear about a new color? That's when custom stuff was really like custom because you couldn't see it. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like now you can see what everybody throws for the most part. But like back then, a guy would be like, I was throwing a custom painted crankbait. A lot of the times they wouldn't show it, and there wouldn't be anywhere to see it. Um, and then you could sit and wait and scour the internet and see if you could find a clip it of like what the bait looked like, or if like somebody offered a new color. Like new colors back then were like actually a big deal. Um, I get the current Bassmaster. Good for you. Good for you. Uh, what would suffice for a wacky rig back in the day? Now guys can become as good as us in a day on YouTube. It took me 5 years to get good at jig fishing for whatever reason. It was hard for me to master. Yeah, I always thought when I first came up jig fishing, how I had lots of bad information. Uh, the first bit of information that was bad was that you couldn't cast a jig. Can't do it. Fish won't bite it. Like literally, somebody told me that. Um, said you cannot cast a jig. You have to pitch it. Okay, that doesn't make any sense, but whatever. And the second thing was you don't work it like a worm. I was like, well, it's bouncing on the bottom. How else do you work the bait? So I had all these weird misconceptions. Like you'd go by a tree that was like a little bit out of pitching range. You're like, oh, better not cast at that because I certainly can't get a bite. Uh, the fish know the difference, and so I had to work through those. Took a little while to realize the guy was full of shit. The Sluggo was worrisome. Yeah, Sluggo was a good bait though. First time I tried drop shotting, I used a trout hook and a half-ounce split shot. Thought it was next level, dude. I did that. I'll tell you. I'll tell you a next level. Um, a next level groundbreaking something I did. And I was fishing below the dam at Miller's Ferry, and I was going down the riprap, and I was throwing a fluke, and I was twitching it around, and I had read something in Bassmasters about like a mojo rig or something, and I was like, I don't feel like this is getting down to the fish, so I didn't rig up a mojo rig. I just took a split shot and rigged it up like it might have been a Mark Menendez thing because I remember he used to always do fluke articles. I feel like, um, so I took like a split shot and crimped it on my line like 12 inches above my fluke. And I caught a 3-pound spot, and that was the biggest spot I'd ever caught. That's the first spot I ever caught, and like as soon as I put that split shot on, I caught that fish, and I was like, it works, dude. Bitsy flip is the juice. Uh, Drop shot was another one to get good at. Yeah, I still don't have a lot of confidence in a drop shot. Um, Darius Burns has made a spook, but it's not perfectly round because he didn't have a lathe, if you can believe that. Um, what pissed off the world at IKAST today? Nothing new, same old shit. Um, got more bad info than good. I had to put my spinners down and just try different techniques with the jig, but once I got it down, it was like fishing with live bait. There you go. There you go. Yeah, I didn't. I'm trying to think other things I was told about a jig that come to find out weren't true. Um, can't cast it. You can't. You don't fish it like a worm. And there was some other one. Something about the bite. I can't remember. Yeah, Darius, you've got a lot of practice with the drop shot. You got a lot of practice. That will definitely grow confidence. Tennessee Bassmaster, we're eagerly awaiting your jig of choice. And it better be good because Morgan is grading you by your jig of choice. Just like I should have gotten Jody to tell this story where he was with he was driving Kevin Short to the Classic. Your jig will be judged. But he was speaking of jig judging. Jody was driving. I think it was Kevin. No, it was Kevin Worth, not Kevin Short. The jockey, Kevin Worth. He was driving Kevin Worth to the Classic at Lay, I believe, and or Logan. I can't remember which one. But he Kevin said he was gonna pitch a jig all day, and Jody had been at the expo and was said he's like, hey, I got these. Strike King had these jigs, like buy one get six free, or like buy 10 get one free, and he's like, I bought like 50 of them. He's like, it's the bootlegger. And Kevin Worth was like, man, that's the biggest piece of shit jig that's ever been made. He's like, that thing's awful. You need to throw them things in the trash. Like you basically took Jody's heart out. and crushed it, and told him that like all of his hard-earned money that he just spent on all these stupid ass bootlegger jigs were total junk. No more bootleggers for him. He's probably still got them, honestly. But that was pretty amusing that he had a whole bag in the back seat. Oh, Stearman, you like the bootlegger? Apparently, in the pro ranks, it was frowned upon. Yes, I'm sorry. It wasn't Kevin Short. It's Kevin Worth, the jockey. The jockey. Yeah, Strike King bootlegger. I don't know why he just wouldn't get the Denny Brauer Pro model. Anthony, I think it was a Custom Lures Unlimited. Are you talking about the Zero Gravity jig? It's not Custom Lures Unlimited anymore. It's Catch Outdoors, but they sell the Zero Gravity jig. I thought they sold them simultaneously. Travis, maybe not. Maybe that was the precursor. The bootlegger was the precursor. Maybe that's what they were doing. Maybe they were making room for the Denny Brauer, getting rid of the bootlegger. But I thought they sold them as options. You could either buy the Pro model Brauer or you could buy the bootlegger. Maybe not. It might have been they might have been switching them at that time. Any other crankbait but a Big M is trash. Burns told me that from the get-go. He said that shit you're throwing is garbage. And this is we're talking 10 years ago. Tennessee Bassmaster, have you told us your jig yet? Where is it? What is your jig of choice? Yamamoto shed shaped worm gets bit with the flat side down. The hit worm? I don't know. I'm out of this worm talk. Y'all lost me. Y'all lost me at worms. Whoa. Y'all lost me at flatworms. Up at St. Clair, I use a Magnum Dream Shot. I don't think the fish are used to seeing a bait that big. So I don't have to kill it at Kentucky Lake. I use the Z2 minnow a lot. That's what AJ was using. He was catching some fish on the Z2. It does sound good. Magnum Hitworm Nika rigged is delicious. Dude, I didn't know there was so many wormers in here. My favorite jig is whatever the boater offers to you because you don't have any. Oh, speaking of jig advice, I go up north and I'm told you don't have to feel it. I felt like I was 12 again, getting bad info from my compadres. Oh yeah, that's the thing about a jig, dude. You don't have to feel it. You don't need to feel it. Just throw it out there. What do you need to feel? Just wait for a fish to bite. Bob, I can always appreciate a good dad joke. Is the zero gravity jig is very close. So there's one that's even less gravity. It literally floats. I know that's popular in the walleye world, isn't it? What happens if I Google floating bass jig? Game Changer Lures? No. Let's see. Too much drop shot talk. I'm out. Y'all take over. Y'all take over. I'm just gonna look up floating jig heads for Anthony. Come on, dude. I don't. This is the biggest ripoff, dude. I don't want to sign into Google just to search. There's a floating slip jig made by Elkins Lures. Burns. Those up northers, they don't feel their jigs, dude. They just throw it out there and hold on and move it around a little bit. Pretty weird. How to float a jig. This is I'm having a hard time. You know, the best place to go is Google Images. Usually you can find some old crusties in there. Game Changer Lures, sponsored ad, no thanks. Beast Coast Hustler Jig, sponsored ad, no thanks. How to Fish a Jig, Omnia. They got their SEO rolling. That if you look up Bass Jig, they pop up. I'm not seeing it. My next question. Walleye guys will put three-way rigs with floating jigs. Not as many doing it now. Yeah, I always remember hearing about that. I always thought it was a cool technique. My next question to you, Anthony, is what do you do with a floating jig? Because I feel like you could do the same thing with a punch skirt and a hook. Right? Wrong? Like just take your bobber stopper, punch skirt, put it up above your hook, rig up your whatever your trailer is, and then throw it out there. I don't know. These new crankbaits dropping. Also missed the smaller testing game. Bob, did you not get these? You missed? I'm sorry. I did get some. It's like the hunt for Bigfoot. He did. Burns sent me one out of his damn trash can. He said, "I don't know what this thing is. I'll throw it in the box. See what it do." It did some weird stuff. Small. No. There's a deeper diving one coming by popular demand. By popular demand, the campers have spoken and they want something that will dive deeper than 5 foot. So ask and you shall receive. We'll see. Who threw the Gambler double weed guard jig? I had a dude leave one in my boat and brought it to flip a riprap in the river, and I was like, what the fuck do you need all that for? Morgan, I've actually been doing a lot of research on the double weed guard jig, the Metlock jig. Does anybody know anything about the Medlock jig? Does anybody pitch the Medlock jig? Makes a lot of sense. but I've never seen anybody actually fish one outside of Florida. Unless you're a Florida guy and then go somewhere else in the country where you pitch a jig. Has anybody outside of the state of Florida used the Medlock double weed guard jig and had success? Where you would pick that jig up over a standard jig. This ain't Florida. Around here, we lose jigs. Because honestly, Morgan, if he's fishing riprap with it, it ain't the weed guard, bro. Like, that head's getting wedged and it's gone. Like, 16 weed guards across it ain't going to keep it from getting hung. Aaron's jig has 3 weed guards. Are they those titanium one? Is that the one you're talking about? Oh yeah. How does that work? You fish it in wood? $6.29. I've never experimented with the titanium wire weed guard. I don't really like the idea of it, but maybe I do. I don't know. Seems kind of small. 2 fiber weed guards. I would lose jigs. That's all part of the fun, Marty. Losing them. That's when you start pouring them. I like Picasso as a brand a lot, but I don't own anything Picasso. I think the only reason I like them because of Aaron. And they Picasso stays in their lane and they do their own thing and they create cool products. So Picasso is probably one of my favorite brands in that aspect because they're you know they're not flashy, they're not douchey, they're not any of those things. I feel like they just run a good like tight ship. You like a double wire weed guard for brush piles way more than a standard weed guard. Interesting. Use them more around grass and rock. Okay. So we're still out. They do okay in wood. Okay, so that's mainly what I would fish. The verdict is still out on the double weed guard jig in normal scenarios, normal human fishing scenarios, normal conditions you humans might encounter in a day of fishing. Interesting. Hello, Brendan. How is the show? Are you have you rubbed all the elbows, or are there any left to rub? Like the skirts and jig heads. I will tell you, Z-Man produces. They manufacture the majority of silicone skirts. Not the majority, but they have they're affiliated or their sister company or they're under their umbrella is a silicone skirt manufacturer, and they're awful. I hate them. I'm not a big fan of their skirts. Have you signed an agent yet? BBC, can you tell us what you voted for? the moth chatterbob. I have an issue with those JDM bladed jigs in that they are very speed sensitive. They hunt so much you can only reel them at one speed, and I don't like that. I like versatility. I like being able to take a bait and that bait allows me to do a lot with it, not not one thing. You know what I mean? Like I don't sell y'all crankbaits that you can only reel like at one speed. Like that doesn't do me any good because what are the odds that every time you go fishing you can throw one bait and reel it at one speed and get bit? Like that doesn't work. Um, but I've got a few of those JDM chatterbaits, and they were very speed sensitive. That if you got them over a kind of a medium slow speed, they would start getting real wild and coming up to the top, and it was it was not my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea. Um, Ow! Getting stove up over here talking. All right, well, I guess I could stuff envelopes. How many do I need? 15. Still prefer the OG Z-Man Chattermates. Maybe I'll find the new ones for 10. No, I've got I bought a stealth blade because Academy had them on blowout when they were doing their clearance, and the stealth blade was like $6 or something. And I was like, I'd pay $6 for this hook, jig, and like paint. You know what I mean? Like without having the blade. I said I would probably pay $6 for this. Um, so I bought it. Came here, opened them up, and I took the clear blade off and put one of my blades on it. And that thing is pretty wild. It's almost too wild. It's almost too wild. I never actually threw it with the right blade on it. Like I've never thrown I've never thrown one with the stealth blade. Bob, recommendation: take the blade off. Put whatever blade you want to on it. And if you don't have a blade, I can send you a blade. And I forgot the hook on that. I mean the ring. The Picasso tungsten football. Yeah, I have heard that a football head will do different things in the water. That they'll get real freaky in the water. I've never experimented with that. Mainly for stupid reasons, because I think a football head looks dumb on a chatterbait. But that's just vanity. I like the way the regular sparky looking head looks. Strictly vanity. But if you're curious, I do think I have heard that a football head will jive. Bob, I will. And then you can convert your stealth blades into good running baits. One of these had a little fuzz on it that I was going to sand off. So if somebody gets a bait with a fuzz on it, I'm sorry, I didn't catch it. Somewhere around here, if I can catch it, I will remove it, but I don't see it. There it is. That's the one. I'll set this one aside, and I need some water. Some water. Great in the rock. I experimented with the Queen's Chatterblade on random jigs. Cool songs. Yeah, that was, I bought them, Anthony, because I was going to hook my swim jig to them, and I ended up pulling the skirt out of my swim jig because I wanted that big hook, and I started looking at the wire and the whole concept behind it, and I was like, I don't like this at all. Um, so I never even put it in the water. Like I just did it. It looked too janky. You know what I mean? Like there was too much going on, and I didn't like it. So I've got a bunch of those Queen's blades. If anybody likes them, I can probably dig them out and send them to you because I don't like them. I don't like them. I don't trust them. I have trust issues. I have trust issues. Um, Another company makes them. Who would that be? Bob, you mean they're on Omnia or are they not on Omnia? You're not an Omnia shopper now? Get the better deals? I do like Z-Man's new chatterbait they've got rolling out. I thought the glitter on the blade was a nice touch. I will say that was probably one of the things I was most impressed with, that they glittered the blade and the glitter looked good. They got my attention. I saw that and I said, "All right, Z-Man, I see you. I see you." They make spinner, cheddar, and buzz attachments like all three into or oh, you're probably talking about the you're probably talking about that the dude that makes the swim bait. That's like skulls and shit. He makes like the snitch. I forget what the name of his business is, but it's the same guy that makes the big snitch swim bait. That's like all these different components. Like you buy this kit and it comes with like a 3-piece section, a glide section. It comes with like a wake bill you put in it, a crank down bill. Like it's got all these attachments to it. FMTC. That's it. Terrible name. How do you expect anybody to remember that? How do you expect anybody to remember that? The buzzbait attachment. See, I don't like that kind of shit. I like the idea of it, but like I think it's cool, and I think it's like, I mean, it's more of a novelty to me. Um, but I just like, I don't want one bait that does like 3 different things. Like I just want like a good buzz bait, and I'll throw that. Like I don't like things that I can convert to like a chatterbait or like something else like that. Like that it's I don't know. I can see where they have their place, especially if you have limited, like if you're like a pond beater, or like somewhere where you're like walking a lot to fish and you have to like carry limited tackle. Makes a lot of sense. But um, It just seems like a novelty to me that I can't keep up with. Oh, that's a pretty one. That's a pretty one. For whatever reason, that color on the front of that one really popped. Weedless application, great for bank fishing. Yeah, you don't have to bring a whole big box of stuff. You just bring your little components and you're done. Makes sense. Makes sense. All right. Let's ship out. Ship this out. If this will fit. This box is kind of shysty, but we'll try it out. I need some little split rings. Here they are. I need this one of these. Damn, I'm out of little split rings. Not good. My last purchase from Casey. Small split rings. All right, dudes. I'm gonna get out of here and get everything shipped. I need my computer and I need to print and pack. So good talking to y'all. Lengthy one today. Y'all be good. See you later.